Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. I'm Kevin Kietzman in for one sunny hour today until the Vince Show comes your way at 11 o'clock. We've got a lot to pack into 1 hour today as the week is starting off after a big weekend of more news and information and some wild sports. Lots of good stuff today we're going to get into. There are hundreds more agents now in Minneapolis. They're beefing this up. Law and order matters. That's a big story we'll get into today as well. We also have a report now that the person that was caught December 2nd at Whiteman Air Force Base taking pictures of the stealth bomber and other airplanes at Whiteman here in the Kansas City area has now been charged with a crime. He is an illegal alien that was allowed in during the Biden administration from China. He was driving a minivan with Massachusetts plates on it and was arrested was cited December 2nd and told to go away. Came back December 3rd, did it again. He's now been charged. We'll maybe get into that a little bit more as well, because some of the property right there adjacent to Whiteman has been purchased by Chinese interests. This is and Mark Alford's posted some commentary on his social media today. So really a big local story of a broader problem in America that we've all looked at from a macro perspective and just said, yeah, this is everywhere. Well, it is everywhere. If we've got Chinese nationals illegally in the country, allowed to stay because Joe Biden was president, taking pictures of our stealth bomber and doing what with them, we don't know. That seems like something we should be checking out. I don't know why ICE can't just send him home right now. Maybe that's what he wants. Maybe prosecution and incarceration is the way to go on this one. But we start today with one of those things where we get the crossover between people in sports and things going on in the news. And this occurred over the last few days in the NBA. I know Pete mentioned this earlier today on Monday in the morning, that Steve Kerr, the coach of the Golden State Warriors, and Doc Rivers, the coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, each commented on the death of Renee Good. And they didn't do very well commenting on it. Now, I'm never going to be the guy that says Steve Kerr can't sit in front of a microphone, or Greg Popovich, or any of these NBA coaches, Doc Rivers, and say whatever they want politically. I don't care what they say. That's free speech. What I can't tolerate really is when they're just completely and utterly uninformed and don't know what took place. The context of these comments and me starting the show with them today is that sports is not the real world. And over the next few minutes, I'm going to try to prove that point to you. That by and large, yeah, I'm just a radio boy here saying whatever it is that I say, but I live in a real world, okay? I mean, we're out here fighting the good fight, working, trying to raise kids, you know. People in sports are completely insulated and protected. If you've ever heard the term living in a bubble, that's people at the top of, we're talking about the people at the top of sports. I'm not talking about somebody on the practice squad, okay? We're talking about a head coach that's won, these guys have won championships. They're Hall of Fame caliber coaches. They make millions and millions and millions of dollars a year, and they never see the real world. They may have grown up in it, but they've forgotten it. And it's proven in a lot of the things that they say. Steve Kerr of the Warriors, their coach, called what happened shameful and then said agents, plural, commit murder. Agents. Like, well, this happens every day. It happens all the time. Agents, these officers commit murder, and that the government lies about it. Well, you can disagree with the laws, but the government hasn't lied. The laws are clearly going to be in favor of this officer. He was literally standing his ground against a vehicle when the vehicle hit him and he drew his weapon. So these folks don't know. They don't want to know. They just want to bash anything that they can pile on and hit Trump with, or the Trump administration. Doc Rivers, the coach of the Bucks, said that she was murdered on her way home. Well, that's interesting. I hadn't heard that she was on her way home. It appeared that she was moving down the street to blockade some more and allow her wife to catch up with her so they could keep hassling agents. We have a new 4-minute video that shows the complete insanity of these two trying to draw the attention and the ire of the agents by honking their horn, dancing in their car, flashing lights, doing all this different stuff in the street to get the attention of the agents. Like, it's not enough that I'm just going to be down here blocking traffic. I want you to come see me. Come see me. My wife is filming me. Honk, 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 honk. like a scream for attention. So the issue that I have with the people in sports that are obviously taking the side of ill-informed liberals is that they don't live in this real world. These people, let me give you an example. If Steve Kerr and the Warriors finish a game, they take their shower, and they get on a bus and they're going to the airport to start a road trip, they get a police escort. They literally think police officers are designed to escort them to the airport. Now, why do sports teams who sometimes travel in 2 big buses, maybe 3, football teams need several, why do they get police escorts? Well, they pay for it. They ask for it. They pay for it. Usually it's off-duty officers, and there's a fee, and it comes along with that. Why do they do that? Well, they're entitled. They think they're the Trump motorcade. I'm not saying anything negative about the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll use an example. We're the Kansas City Chiefs. We're special. We need a motorcade. We're not stopping at any lights. We're going to the airport. We're big. We're important. We got to go. Do you not understand? We are a freaking sports team. We need the cops to help us get to our private jet. They operate their businesses with what? Dozens, if not hundreds, of off-duty police officers that they pay. Why? Well, we want to keep order around large crowds. We got big crowds here at these NBA games, NFL games, Major League Baseball games. We need officers everywhere. Yeah, that's what they do. That's what they think they're for. They think the police are for hire just for them, not for the rest of people. This is unbelievable. The operation that's taking place in Minnesota is strict, basic, flat out at this point being reinforced for law and order. More agents because there are more people showing up, creating more havoc in a city that's already been burned to the ground and had all kinds of trouble. NBA teams have massive security budgets. Did you know, Steve Kerr and Doc Rivers, you do know this. I'd love to sit in a news conference and ask you a question about this. How many armed employees do the Golden State Warriors have? How many armed employees do the Milwaukee Bucks have? When you walk through the arena, when you travel, how many people that are on the payroll for your NBA team have guns tonight? It's many, let me tell you. You guys know the 2 guys that are always around Andy Reid when he goes on and off the field? You think that dude's not packing? You think the Chiefs don't have security personnel that work for them at Arrowhead with guns? They do. Everybody in sports does. Oh, but what do? We got law and order at our games. We don't care about the streets of Minneapolis or ICE agents, but oh my God, if you throw an empty plastic bottle on the court in an NBA game, we will arrest you. Don't throw trash in our arena. You go throwing trash somewhere out of the stands, we're going to grab you. And if we want, we will prosecute you. You've committed a crime, according to us. Yeah, let's go after them, not the people that are blocking ICE from executing the law. These people are so misplaced with what's important to them. Change the laws. You guys are all in one party. You got a big, bold, beautiful Democrat party. You broke laws for several years and just opened the borders and let people in. Change the laws to where police can't do this, to where they can't enforce the immigration laws. All you got to do is change immigration law. Go to D.C., elect whoever you want, win Congress, win the White House, win the Senate, and pass laws that say America is now, pass a constitutional amendment that we're an open border country. Anybody can come and go as they see fit. That's going to save us a lot of money. We don't need security at the airports. We don't need to check people. We don't need to check any IDs at the border. We don't need to run background checks. We don't need to ask, oh, no, if you want to go get a job, we're going to ask you on there, have you committed a felony? You're an American citizen. But anybody that just wants to come over and come on in, we're not going to ask you those things. Just people that, want to go to work at Oracle or something. We'll ask you if you've committed a felony. But not people coming in. None of what they stand for or stand behind makes any sense. It's all just stupid, empty words from people in sports that live in a bubble, that do not live in the real world anymore. I'm going to play an example, and this cuts to journalism. This is a short clip. This one bothered me a little bit over the weekend. It bothered a lot of people in sports media. I would never do this, but this is kind of where we are. The Jacksonville Jaguars, this is what I mean when you're living in a bubble. Liam Cohen is the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They had a great year this year. Okay? They were favored to beat Buffalo playing at home. They lost. And after the loss, a reporter for the Jacksonville Free Press, where the Jacksonville Jaguars are, decided she really wanted to console the head coach who's standing at the podium after his season has ended. They've just fallen apart. Like, if you do this 2 or 3 years in a row, you're fired, okay? It's a fireable offense to lose that home game in the playoffs, but it was the first time he'd lost one at home in the playoffs, so this is the treatment he got from the media.
How you doing today? Lynn Jones, Jacksonville Free Press News. I just want to tell you congratulations on your success, young man.
Thank you.
You hold your head up, all right? You guys have had a most magnificent season.
Thank you.
And you did a great job out there today.
Appreciate
so you
it.
just hold your head up, okay?
Thank
and
you,
ladies
ma'am.
and gentlemen, Duval, you the one, all
Thank
right?
you, ma'am.
keep it going. We got another season, okay?
I appreciate
Take
it.
care and much continued success to you and the entire team.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, he was very gracious. It looked awkward as all get out to me. I don't think he felt all that comfortable with it. And the other reporters in the room didn't like it. So this doesn't happen every day. But it goes to the higher point that it is not the real world. You can lose a playoff game and a reporter is consoling you, telling you to be proud or whatever. That's not the reporter's job. The reporter's job is to ask a question. And she could have. She could have said, man, this was an amazing, transformational year for this organization. It did not work out well today. Things happened in this game that you didn't win it. But can you just kind of assess where you feel like you are for the future, and is there something bigger down the road? Just ask the question and let the coach talk about that. So, no. People who ride around in cars with their own security and buses with their team that have police escorts don't look at officers the same way the rest of us do. They think they're above it. They're pretty sure if they get pulled over, no officer's ever going to write them a ticket. Oh, my God, it's Andy Reid. Oh, that's okay. And hey, Andy, try to slow down a little bit. I'm not going to give you a ticket today, but slow down a little bit. Probably has happened, to be honest. Why wouldn't they think that we don't need to enforce immigration laws? Steve Kerr and Doc Rivers have lost touch with reality. That's the problem. They have every right to say what they want to say. I support that fully. And the more these people talk about this particular story, the worse it's going to get for them. They're wearing pins, Renee Good pins at the Golden Globes last night, which nobody watched, but it's just the whole thing's absurd. The whole thing is just absolutely absurd. 913-408-7957, the number to call. 913-408-7957. If you'd like to join the conversation, this is Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio.
From Smithville to Shawnee Mission, it's Kevin Kietzman. Uncanceled on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
Come on out and say hi to the KCMO Talk Radio gang Wednesday, 5 o'clock in Liberty. It's the Three Halves Brew Pub and Barbecue. I didn't know they had great barbecue. Looks fantastic on the website. They've got sliced brisket and chopped brisket. It's hard to find chopped brisket in Kansas City. Ooh, I think I know what I'm having. Three Halves Brew Pub and Barbecue, Wednesday, 5 to 7. Myself and Pete Mundo will be there. We're going to do a little in-person show. We'll have a stage set up, a couple of microphones, and some amps, maybe take some questions, and have a nice chat with everyone at Three Halves Brew Pub and Barbecue in Liberty, 110 East Kansas Street in Liberty on Wednesday, 5 o'clock. Looking forward to that. To the phones we go today, and we begin with Mark joining us from Shawnee. Hi, Mark. How are you this week?
Hi, Kevin. It's a great show. Got me fired up just thinking about all the roads you ran down. But, I just stop and think. I watch police taking radar out here in front of my house. I say, you can park in my driveway if you want to. Imagine if I decided, hey, I'm going to park in front of their car. And screw you, you're not taking radar going down this street, because I kind of like to see people fly through that stop sign. What would happen to me when I think about this garbage that we have here? We have tax dollars in Minnesota. Let's just go right to the root of the problem. We got tax dollars in Minnesota being stolen for health care, for child care. And you got Elon Omar, worth what, $30 million? Where did she get that money? I guarantee you she should be in jail and booted from our country. But this blue state, we got Minnesota, and lots of them, they can allow you to come in and say, hey, I can vouch for these 8 people when they vote because I know them. You got to trust me. They're stealing our tax dollars. They're stealing votes. And I just think about the elite. Your point's great. What do? They kick dirt off the porches to all the little vultures down here, and they run around selling gold. Like, we got this, and we sit around and watch and critique them, and they're fools. They end up getting shot, and then they try to tell us that, hey, that was bad. They shouldn't have shot that person. I don't know. This world we live in is just hard to digest.
Mark, you know what part of this is it's people who think we don't need these laws and law enforcement because they don't apply to me. In the case of sports coaches, a lot of times they're like, I'm more important than this. Like, you're not going to arrest me because I'm so-and-so. I'm somebody. But in the case of Renee Good, and I don't know this to be a fact, but I've met an awful lot of people like her and her wife that believe they're so virtuous, so good, that they have such big hearts and they think of other people so much that we don't need these laws because I don't need these laws. These immigration laws don't apply to me. I'm an American citizen, and I'm good, and I'm hopeful for all these people, and I want to help people, and I want to do all these kind things or whatever. But we've learned they weren't really all that kind, and they weren't really that virtuous. But I think people get it in their mind that we don't need these laws and law enforcement because I'm not going to be the problem. Yet in this exact case, Renee Good and her wife were the problem. I can't say this loud enough. All right, you want to see all hell break loose, it's coming. Because that wife needs to be arrested. She needs to be arrested and jailed, and they need to take that child away from her.
I agree 100%. And that angle that you just said, that's exactly right. These do-gooders think that, hey, I come in here and we don't have to worry about they don't understand what's crawling around on the ground waiting to take them out. It's just sad.
She was impeding the officers, and she literally gave the command to drive. Drive, baby, drive, she shouted. And the accelerator was hit. And there she went.
And she also said, go get you some lunch, big boy.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he did.
I don't know why these people think they can get away with this stuff. And the mayor now, Jacob Fries, just keeps using the word resist. Go resist, go resist, go. No, that's resisting arrest is a crime. When you use resist, resist is a word of force. Resist is not protest. Resist is not speak out. Resist is I'm physically going to resist you. All right, that's going to happen. When you do that, you're committing a crime. And these politicians are literally saying resist, which is a crime. And these people are hearing it as a dog whistle, as a call to arms, and they're going and doing it. It's probably going to get worse before it gets better. But I know this, we've got the right people in charge and enough of them. All right, I don't know that we're done with the chaos or bad things happening. But if you couldn't tell by what happened to Renee Good that you shouldn't be in one of these cities messing with ICE, I can't help you. You're too stupid to fix.
I agree with that, Kevin. I don't have any more friends that think along those lines. I just don't. I can't help it. I have grandkids, and kids. And we have to set the future of this country. And the way they want, you just look at Mandani. I mean, who would elect a communist, a democratic socialist to run with his ideas and values? There's a lot of stupid people in the world, Kevin.
Indeed. Great call, Mark, as always. I love your passion, and I love your energy. Very good stuff. No question. I don't spend much time worrying about Mamdani. There are places, I'm pretty sure we have some conservative boobs as well, where it doesn't matter if you're the Republican on the ballot, you're just going to get elected. I think ultimately our biggest problem is the pockets that we now have in this country where there is no race. There's no election. It's just, okay, if you're in this party, you win. You know what these are. You know what these areas. If you're running for mayor in Kansas City, Missouri, you got to be a Democrat. You're not going to get elected. There's just places like that. I feel certain that there's a couple, 3 places in Kansas and Missouri where if you're running for Congress and you're a Republican, you've won. You don't need to do much. You're just going to win. I'm not sure that's really great for our democracy, and I think those are the people that are most emboldened to go out and feed this red meat to their bases and create chaos and make people think that there's some sort of a 50-50 split in this country. It is not. This is still a center-right country. They know this on the left. It's the only reason they do the things that they do, because they have no chance of winning if they don't do these things. Uncanceled continues right after the news. This is KCMO Talk Radio.
From Lawrence to Leavenworth, it's Kevin Kietzman, Uncanceled, on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
All right, you heard the man. Mundo says the keyword today to go see Riley Green in California at the Stagecoach Music Festival is different. Text the word different to the number 95819 for your chance to meet Riley Green and see the show. I think he's probably the hottest country singer in the country right now. He's got like 2 number 1 hits with the same lady that he does a duet with. Is it Ella Langley? Do I have that? Ella Langley. I get her mixed up with Rob Schneider's daughter. Do you know Rob Schneider's daughter's a singer?
Oh, yeah.
Comedian. Her name's Ella too, right? Or Elle?
Elle King, yeah.
Elle King, okay. All right, so this is Ella Langley with Riley Green, and they are all over the place. Huge star, Riley Green. If you want to go see him in California, it's a free trip. You can win. Text the word different to 95819. You know, we get so caught up in a big story from time to time, and this Renee Good certainly has been a very big story, and there's a local connection as she lived here in the Waldo area for a number of years, and I saw Mayor Lucas was still posting about her today. They're going to, on the left, just try to keep this story going and turn her into something that she wasn't that day. And you hate to have your life decided by or defined by your worst moment. I don't know that that was her worst moment, but it was a really bad one, and it did cost her life. She had 2 kids taken away from her by court order, and we're living in Colorado, and there are reports that her wife was abusive to the kids as well. So there's all kinds of things out there that I don't want to spend a great deal of time on because there's no real point in disparaging her for what she may or may not have been in her life, but there's also not much point in trying to build her up into something that she wasn't. That's what the left does. I don't really care. I just know she made a terrible mistake and it cost her her life. But there's so much attention on this story now and so many people are talking about it. I think we're missing something that's happening that, God willing, we live long enough, we will look back on in a couple of decades and go, holy smokes, were we living in a really historical time. And it all stems from the action in Venezuela in extracting Maduro. There's been a domino effect that is palpable. We know that China and Russia didn't like any of this. Iran looks like it's going to fall, and it's not going to take much to topple it. The supreme leader in the regime that's been there for 16 years or whatever it's been, since there was an uprising in 2009, Obama didn't do anything about it to help the people that wanted freedom and democracy, and the religious supreme leader has run the thing like a tyrant ever since then. But it looks like the Iranian people have had enough, and they're putting up posters of Trump. They know what happened in Venezuela. They want it to happen in Iran. The majority of the people do. It is a sad reality for media in America on the left. They don't want to report this, that Venezuelans are thrilled with what's going on. They couldn't be happier. Marco Rubio has made it his life's mission, apparently, since he was 12 years old and promised his grandpa that someday Cuba would be free like America. And his grandpa and his family members that were born in Cuba and came to America, Rubio was born here, would be able to go back to Cuba. That's in play. We're cutting off all the oil and all the money to Cuba at this point. I don't know how long they last before they fall. And these are easy dominoes to topple. This just isn't that hard. Greenland is strategic for Trump. I'm absolutely convinced something's going to happen with Greenland, and we are going to have military installations or bases there, rights to rare earth minerals, things like that, even if we just have to do a deal with Denmark where we pay them or whatever it may be. The people of Greenland have 3 distinct choices at this point. They can be affiliated with China, Russia, or the United States. That's pretty much where this is. Donald Trump is not losing that bidding war for Greenland. He's not. Now, you and I may not think about, hey, we want to go to Greenland someday and vacation or, whatever. That doesn't change the part of how strategic this all is. We know, I'm going to tell you something you knew, but you never think about. And if you look up in the sky and you ever see an airplane flying north to south in the Kansas City area, you think, oh, that one's going from maybe Minneapolis to Dallas. Do you know what a lot of those are? They're Qatar. They're coming from the Middle East. They fly right over the top. They don't come around the world. They go right over the top. They're coming right up and over Greenland to get here. And that's exactly what Russians and Chinese would do if we ever got caught up in a war and they want to start lobbing nukes at us. They're coming over the top. They're not going to go around the world. They're going to come up over the top. And that's the easiest way to explain how important Greenland is. There's a lot of airspace up there and all kinds of international flights that don't enter the United States over the Pacific Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean. They're coming right up over the North Pole like Santa Claus. And that's what Greenland's all about. And we're watching all these moving parts, and this one's different for me. It's very clear that Trump has no endless wars planned. He doesn't want to, there's no war in Venezuela. We're not going in there and overthrowing the military. We're not killing their soldiers. We got the guy out we wanted out. The government's listening. They're apparently to this point doing what we've asked them to do. Iran says they want a meeting with Trump because they're afraid he's going to do it to them. And again, what we have to do, if we can get to a point where these awful dictators realize that their exit ramp is exile and that Trump will facilitate that and get them to a country where they can live out their life in riches and not be in power anymore, but not be a threat. We're not going to come get you. Just go away wherever that is. If you're going to Russia, go to China, go wherever you want to go and live in exile. And that's the end of it. We're going to start over in your country. If we could get to that place, we don't have any wars. We just have people that are at the top that don't want to die, that don't want to be extracted. If I'm the supreme leader of Iran, I'd rather die a martyr right now than be picked up by Trump and brought back to America. That's not even close. I mean, Noriega spent 30 years in prison after we got him in, what year was that, 89? He spent like 30, almost 3 decades. It was short of that, 26, 27 years. But parts of 3 decades until he died in jail. There's nothing worse for a guy like Maduro that's lived the life that he's lived and had the things that he's had to live out his life in jail. I'm surprised he didn't do something to make them shoot him. Then there might have been some unrest in Venezuela. Some people think he's a martyr. Oh, we want to stand with him. You have no right to come kill our guy. But what they've done is like, we're just extracting him. We're going to put him on trial. They're like, oh, okay, that seems fair. That seems good and fair to us. Why wouldn't the Ayatollah take a deal in Iran? They're collapsing economically. The people in the streets, they can't keep control of the place. It's not going to happen. Money and oil are getting cut off from Russia. It's going to be incredibly difficult for them to keep funding their war in Ukraine. All of these are pressure points that Trump's putting on people economically. And that's a beautiful thing to see. And if that topples a society because now they can't eat and they can't get medicine, it's terrible it happens to those people, but it's happening in these places anyway. It was already really tough in Venezuela. It's miserable in Cuba. People want out of Cuba. They've always wanted out of Cuba. Is it going to be bad over the next few months before it topples or whatever? I never thought Cuba would topple. We got to topple it. The Russians and Soviets before that have been messing around in Cuba since the 50s. All right, this is ridiculous. This is our world now. This is our hemisphere. This isn't going into Afghanistan and occupying a country. That's not what this is. This is we're going to free Cuba. We're going to take the people, or as Marco Rubio calls them, the old senile men running that country. We're going to take them out of power in whatever shape that is, and we'll allow the people of Cuba to dictate their own future. That's fine. This is different. Nobody in our lifetime has tried this. And I don't think because we get so caught up in, it's great to be an American. We get caught up in the NFL playoffs and don't think about this stuff. We're truly looking at pieces on a chessboard right now, so many pieces that we've never lived in a time like this. You know, the concern in the 60s with the Cuban Missile Crisis was that we were going to have nuclear missiles lobbed at us. That played out through history. Kennedy navigated through that. Why have we just allowed Cuba to be this way? It doesn't make any sense. We've allowed the Russians to interfere there. The Chinese are involved in Venezuela. We can't allow this. This is our backyard now. This is our defense. And I'm liking Marco Rubio more and more every single day because he says things in a very plain-spoken way that anybody can understand. He was asked this weekend by reporters about the drug boats that were popping, you know, these cartel boats that were just blowing up, about getting Maduro out, extracting him out of his country, about having a thumb on the government of Venezuela, about possibilities with blockading Cuba. And these reporters from their European media agencies, and they're asking him questions like, what makes you think you can do this? You're breaking international law. You can't do this. And he goes, I find it very interesting that European countries that want us to protect them and provide them with nuclear warheads and missiles and defense systems do not think we have the right to allow to defend our own country close to home. He said, we're not listening to anybody anywhere else about the Caribbean Sea off the coast of the United States. We're going to do what we want right here, okay? We're going to take care of this. And the Chinese and the Russians are not welcome here anymore. If there was ever a time that you had no threat of Russia doing anything to you, it's right now. Their military can't take Ukraine. They're debilitated in so many ways. The only thing he could do is go crazy and hit the red button and launch nukes. And after what I saw happen in Venezuela, and now we have an account that the White House reposted. I don't know if you guys heard this over the weekend or not. Of the guard who was there when they extracted Maduro, we apparently have all kinds of weapons that we don't know about. And I like that. I'm for open records acts, but I really don't need to know everything our government has. I'm okay sleeping well at night. That they went in, and this is what the guard said. We were on guard. Suddenly our radar system shut down without explanation. The next thing we saw were drones, lots of drones, flying over our positions. We didn't know how to react to that. They were technologically very advanced. They didn't look like anything we'd fought against before. Talking about 20 U.S. soldiers deploying in 8 helicopters over this base. 20 men or women. We had hundreds, and we had no chance. They were shooting with such precision and speed, it felt like each shoulder was firing 300 rounds per minute. The witness describes the U.S. deploying some sort of sonic weapon against the Venezuelan forces. At one point, they launched something. I don't know how to describe it. It was very intense, like a sound wave. Suddenly, I felt like my head was exploding from the inside. We all started bleeding from the nose. Some were vomiting blood. We fell to the ground. We were unable to move. We couldn't even stand up after that sonic weapon or whatever it was put upon us. Those 20 men without a single casualty killed hundreds of us. We had no way to compete with their technology. I swear I've never seen anything like it. So do you think Russia thinks that even if they lobbed some sort of nuke at us, because we're closing down any operations they have in Cuba or Venezuela or the Caribbean or whatever, or the Ukraine war, what makes anybody think they're going to get here? I mean, I sleep pretty well at night thinking if something gets launched from Russia, we're shooting it down in the sky. It's not getting here. Accidents can happen. Things can get through. I'm guessing we have technology that nobody knows about and nobody talks about because we seem to have it every time. I said this when it happened. When they went and got Maduro, you don't go into a military installation like that, a fortified compound with 20 people and 8 helicopters and do what you did with no casualties. That is impossible. I said, I can't wait to find out what it was. I don't know what we got. What was the sonic wave? What was the sonic boom that makes you barf blood and have blood come out of your nose? And you're just basically crippled on the ground. It just takes you out. What on earth do we have?
It's like those dog whistles, but for humans.
Yes, like a shock collar.
Yeah.
It's just stunning. And I love it. And I love that operation, that procedure that we did in Venezuela. And I think we're going to look back in several years and go, oh, my goodness, those Trump years were truly historic. Let's reset the map. Let's get more freedom and democracy near America in our backyard. Let's keep China and Russia and Iran out of this mess. And let's take care of our own business. I don't care about occupying Afghanistan or Iraq or any of those places. I really don't care. This feels different. Cuba's close. Venezuela's in the neighborhood. Yeah, this feels total. Greenland? Yeah, it just feels different. This isn't the same old that we've been doing for 75 years. It's time to move on and do something smarter. And I feel like we're going to look back and say this is history. All right, we'll check in with Mark. We had a great weekend of sports and some cool things going on, and maybe sprinkle in a phone call or two next as Uncanceled continues on KCMO.
From Gladstone to Gardner, it's Kevin Kietzman, Uncanceled, on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
All right, welcome back. Great to have you with us on this start of a new week. The Vince Show is coming right up in just a few minutes. Mark Van Sickle is beaming as his Seattle Seahawks are now entering the fray in the NFL playoffs this weekend with their home game. Did you see what the team is doing to its fans this week?
The Seahawks?
Yeah.
I did not. What are
They
they
have
doing?
sent warnings to all their season ticket holders to not sell their tickets to this game. If they do, they may not qualify for tickets next year.
I don't disagree with that sentiment.
I hate it.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I like their home field advantage.
I do too. And I think they should be saying publicly, please don't sell your tickets. We don't need, it's the Niners, right?
Yep.
We don't need no stinking Niner fans in here. Don't sell your tickets. But threatening them with not buying more, can you imagine you have a business and the customers of your business, the money-spending customers, you're telling them what to do with the product you're selling them.
Yeah, it's a bit much.
You can't do it.
Yeah.
That again, that's like we talked about at the start of the show. That's sports not living in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, we'll find other fans and replace you. No, that's terrible.
Yeah.
I'm all for, please don't sell your tickets. Let's create a situation where Seahawks fans are on other Seahawks fans for doing it.
Yeah.
But you don't know. This credit card story that's out there, 10% interest on a credit card. How many Seahawks fans do you think borrowed all the money to pay for their tickets, put it on a credit card, and haven't paid down a nickel of the principal yet?
Yeah.
A bunch.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
They might be able to sell this Sunday's tickets and pay for the whole season,
That's true.
which would be fiscally responsible. So I think I just thought the Seahawks overstepped on that one.
It would be like the Broncos coming to Arrowhead in the playoffs or the Raiders or somebody like that.
And I'd be the first guy right here on radio. Chiefs fans, don't sell your
Yeah.
tickets.
But the Chiefs shouldn't say that.
No, the Chiefs should not. They should not threaten you
Yeah.
with not coming back. We're going to take your season tickets away if you do this. No, that to me, that was just it was quite a bit too far for me on that one. Did you have a favorite game over the weekend? I very clearly had a favorite moment.
I liked the Bears.
Yeah, me too.
comeback.
Yeah. Down 21-3 at the half.
Yeah, that Caleb Williams 4th and 8 completion was just so good.
These things did not disappoint. We have San Francisco at Seattle, Buffalo at Denver. We have Houston or Pittsburgh at New England, and we have the Rams at the Bears coming up this weekend. And I don't like the playoffs without the Chiefs either, but the NFL did not disappoint me this weekend.
Yeah, all great games.
They got quite a product. FanDuel tonight. Go to FanDuel.com/local if you want to get the big boost tonight for the Houston-Pittsburgh game. I think we're all on the same thought here. Houston's defense is so good, Pittsburgh won't score tonight, right?
I think so. I what is it, a 3-point spread?
That's not enough. I don't
Yeah.
think it is. How many points would you think the Steelers are scoring in this game tonight?
Well, DK Metcalf is back, which maybe they'll have a little bit there, but the Texans' defense is so good.
Very good.
I just think Gainwell will get his 25 yards so I can win my parlay, and then maybe they'll get one touchdown.
I'll set the Steelers over-under just themselves at 10.5. Would you take the over or the under?
I would go under.
I would too. Just they're just not going to be able to score tonight. So that's it. Did you see the comments Bill Self after they lost to West Virginia this weekend?
Yeah.
He said of the league, it's a bitch. Okay, that's a direct quote to Bill Self. He's right. The top 4 schools in the Big 12 right now are 62-2. Their only losses are the top 5 teams by 2 points. And those teams are ranked 1, 3, 6, and 9, I think, in the country. So this league is very hard. But then he said something that had to really hurt. He said, we don't have pros coming off the bench anymore.
Yep.
How did that, as a Kansas fan, how did that make you feel?
I thought it was honest, and I like honesty, so I was fine with it.
Essentially what he's saying is our 5th, 6th, and 7th best players on this team are now the 1st or 2nd best player on another team where they're paying them. And we can't get them to come here because they don't want to sit the bench and play just a few minutes. Times are changing, man. College athletics, times are changing. That's going to do it for this episode of Uncanceled. Always great to have you with us every day. Don't forget, Rehab's Brew Pub and Barbecue on Wednesday, 5 o'clock in Liberty. We'll see you there.